All right, last one. We got to do the DPS, right? So this is just what their skill floor is, okay? This is skill floor for DPS characters. So basically, how easy is it to pick the character if you have 0 hours, button mash, and get some value, compared to if you pick a different character and do the exact same thing. So, starting it off, Black Cat, definitely don't pick this character. Somewhere in between here. She's only been out for like a week anyway, literally a week today, and the guides are still coming out. So, yeah. Leave Black Cat down here. Not much doing. So, BP. Controversial. I'm going to put BP in even. I know a lot of people are like screaming at me. No, he's super easy. No, he's like crazy hard. Like, put it kind of even. So, for BP, part of this is like the value that you get. And if you just show up as a BP, you're getting value by terrorizing the enemy supports. Literally, like, by existing, you can get some value and cause some havoc on the front line. Very true. Does that mean that it's good value? Like, no, but it is value that you can get very easily. And, like, even, again, if you die in the back line, as long as you time it, like, decently well, you can get some value out of it, and you can terrorize supports. Also, it doesn't take that much, like, skill or, like, time to get the spear, dash in and out quick. So, like, it doesn't take that much effort to pick up BP to the point where you can be a nuisance. Now, are you going to be good? No. And that's why we're not, like, up here. But I still think it's even. I think that I very much put a lot of effort, or I put a lot of faith in how much this character can just mess with supports' heads. And make it to where the enemy tank can just like fall over because the other supports are like not paying attention anymore. Because they're like, where's BP? I don't know if he's going to show up anymore. Right? Widow. The same thing goes. So you know how for all of BP we're talking about like, you know, the psychological stress? Widow has that for your team. Okay? You pick Widow and your whole team is just like, oh, can we not like... Before we even get to talk about like actually hitting headshots and like having a Mantis on your team and, you know, the anti-dive combos and sight lines and all that stuff, you're just gonna like demolish your team in the same way that Blade does. Blade as well is just like bad for that. People will start throwing with a Blade on their team instantly. Most important quality is having a Lord icon. Please don't influence BP's win rate by playing Jeff. I think Jeff's high pick rate influences BP's win rate a lot. Fair. Daredevil. Daredevil's similar. Very high skill ceiling. He has a lot of buttons. So maybe here. But the effect that he has on supports is also like pretty crushing. He's also really, really hard to kill. I think even if you don't know what you're doing as Daredevil, you can still survive a lot of situations. But harder for sure. Yeah. Especially after the nerfs. Elsa, very similar to Daredevil. If you know that character, you can get a ton done. If you don't, you're really not going to get much value. Like, if you don't know what range this character attacks in, if you're not using her movement abilities to their maximum effort, you're way easier to kill. You don't get as much bonus health or anything like that. So, Elsa, same exact area. Hawkeye, I'd put Hawkeye on even. Maybe even situational. Sometimes with that character, if there's a Rocket or a Jeff, you could just get a random headshot and, like, take over a lobby without even being good. You're just like hitting shots. You're just lobbing them down main. It can happen. It can happen. Now, the higher rank you go, though, the lower this is going to be. So somewhere in here. You guys could probably convince me to move Hawkeye. I'm not super confident on where that is. Hawkeye getting lucky on a shot is genuinely fight winning. That's what I'm saying. Like, you could just get lucky randomly and then boom, value. Like, their rocket's dead. The rocket beacon doesn't work anymore. Now, like, it's a huge fight turner. Like, he can also headshot tanks, which can really stop them from being super aggressive. Like, an oppressive Hawkeye. Yeah. Torch is very difficult. Torch is insanely difficult to get value. Like, oh, that character's hard. The changes help. The changes make him a little bit easier. You can kind of get in and out better because you have 2 dashes, and he's a bit more bursty with the healing or with the movement. But you can, if you're not careful with this character, you can supercharge the enemy support ults all the time. So you can get negative value from that. He's really easy to like randomly get picked off if you float away too far, because your supports can just forget to look up sometimes. If you're not using cover well, if you're not like getting your cooldown rotations well, then you could just be sitting there for like 3 or 4 full seconds just like waiting for your cooldowns to come back. It was crazy seeing Rueb's win rate skyrocket one day when things just clicked. Yeah, like, if you know what you're doing with that character, you can get a ton of value right now. But, like, if you don't, you're just dead weight. Iron Fist, probably even. I think Iron Fist can do so much. And, like, his skill, in order to learn the character, it's like, oh, you block when you're in danger and you punch when you're not. Oh, you can kind of run around and go everywhere and fly and do whatever you want. It's like, oh yeah, you can also like just punch tanks for a while and like get a ton of value. You can go try to dive supports and get a ton of value. At the same time though, you can kind of throw. So he's kind of similar to BP in like what they can do there. I don't think it requires a lot to pick up Iron Fist. Now, to get really good with him, that's very different. But just to start getting some value, I think that's fine. His cooldown loops are kind of tricky, but the mechanics are mostly just holding left click. Holding left click, knowing what to punch. Yeah, it's not too crazy. Iron Man. I think Iron Man, you could get some easy value. I think you just get some splash damage. You're constantly shooting. Your ult, you could just delete an enemy every once in a while. There's a lot of like pressure by all of the flyers. Kind of have this thing where like when you pick them, you're putting pressure on the enemies. So Mort, I'm kind of arguing the opposite, because yes, it's true that your supports are going to have a harder time healing the flyers, but at the same time, the enemy team now has a flyer that they have to deal with constantly. And so the enemy team has to do something. So like that puts that psychological pressure on people. It's like, oh, can we please like get off Reed so somebody can deal with the flyers? Can we get a Punisher? Can we get like something to shoot at them? And like it could put a lot of stress. And Iron Man's a very easy one to do that. Reed I put in even. That there are certain teams that literally cannot interact with Iron Man at all. Yeah. Absolutely. Whenever I had someone switch to flyer, we did worse. Fair. Okay, Reed is pretty even. It's not bad to just pick up that character and become a nuisance and like survive forever and be annoying. It's not really going to like do a lot aggressively, but defensively, and like so you can soak up a lot of damage and you can just be annoying. Always alive, like slowing things down. Not much to say. Moon Knight, throw him up there. Not even close. Definitely like one of the easiest characters to just get value. Like You can damage tanks. You can delete supports off the map. You can constantly be throwing things. The aim is like not bad. You can bounce around. Like super easy value. He's even good at like high elo now, at least decent. You get an ult every 5 seconds still, which is great. Oh, thank you very much. Oh Lord. Namor controversial. I'll put Namor down here. I think a lot of people pick up Namor because they're like, oh, squids, throw the squids, anti-dive. I don't think Namor is that simple. I think the ult is kind of harder to use than most people realize, especially because it's so good. So if you waste it on a situation that you don't need it, it's like you're just missing out on a ton of value. I think his primary fire, the tridents, are a lot harder to hit than people realize. I think positioning wise, something like that is a lot more difficult than people give credit. I know I'm going to be in the minority here. I know everybody's going to want to say, like, no, throw Namor up top. I disagree. I'm going to put Namor down here. I might move him to situational. Maybe. Maybe. I need to readjust this as well. Probably do it like that. Phoenix. Phoenix is one of these two. One of these two. And I'm not sure in between. I'd probably put Phoenix here, but you have to aim. So maybe here. I'd put this here. Yo. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Is this for low elo? It's kind of just... the only criteria is how the skill floor is. That's it. So if somebody goes on at any given skill level and they button mash a character, are they going to get more value if they're button mashing Moon Knight versus they're button mashing Elsa? Namor's not easy value pick because you need to stay constantly on the same target for squids to mean something. Very true. The squids are kind of trash damage unless you use them correctly. They just kind of like do a little bit of damage to everybody. Psylocke is somewhere in between these two. I think her ult's incredible. I think her presence on the battlefield does well. I think she does good damage to tanks. Can flank, can support. You can kind of do whatever you want with that character and get value. I'm not sure where I'd put Psylocke. Spear ability plus 2 squids is deceptively explosive. Right, but you have to like know the combo and not just like throw them out. I think she's difficult, but I'm speaking as a Psy main. I mean, how difficult is she compared to like Namor, right? Is she more difficult than Namor? I would put Namor as more difficult to get value. I don't know. It's like the ult is just so easy to use and it gets so much value. So like if you're a bad Psylocke, you can still pick up the character, shoot at a tank, farm your ult, and then just go kill a backline. You can do that consistently, all without like calling major attention to yourself and like just kind of getting around and like skirting. That's why I kind of want to move her up more. But with the ult charge nerf, it happens less often, you know? So that whole time you're doing that, Hawkeye's been getting headshots. All right, Scarlet Witch. Honestly, I don't know. Scarlet Witch is another character like Penny, where we were talking about, where it's like, if you're in super low elo, then this is just up here, right? You just pick it. You don't have to worry about aiming. You don't have to do stuff. The ult in low elo gets a kill or 4 kills like every single time. It never gets canceled. Nobody looks up. Nobody shoots it. If you're in high elo, this character's trash and like would effectively be like down here. Probably here. So I feel like we just need like a new place for this. Just like highly elo dependent. Highly elo dependent. Yeah, so I think you're talking about Psylocke here. She has to commit all of her cooldowns to an engagement. Her pathing and healing pack knowledge is important to survive without supports, and her cooldown system means that you still need uptime between dives. I would argue that if you're farming tanks, you're only getting value every 4 minutes or so. Yeah. So then that would bump her down to like here even. Maybe here? Kind of similar to like Iron Fist then. I'm fine with that. All right. So Scarlet Witch, I don't know, man. I'll just throw Scarlet Witch here and like understand that she's like off to the side. Very elo dependent, that character. Spider-Man, you know where. You know your place. Get over here. The amount of hours you have to put into that character in order to just be able to move around the map is staggeringly high. Do not pick Spider-Man unless you know what's going on. My God, my goodness. But once you get over the first like 300 hours in the practice range, then you're gonna skyrocket. Yeah, do not pick that character unless you're signing up for it. What's up, Chaotism? Remember when Spider-Man was the face of throwing? Yeah. Squirrel Girl, she's another one that's kind of with Scarlet Witch in that tier of just like very elo dependent. If you're super low elo, yeah, super high value. You can just throw nuts down main and get tons of value. People are going to walk into it. You'll get random kills. Nobody even knows what's going on. Nobody can punish her. If you're in high elo, she's basically worthless. You're not going to hit anything, and you're going to be a massive target because you're slow. You don't have much going for you. So yeah, another Scarlet Witch tier just off to the side. Star-Lord. Star-Lord's very similar to Psylocke. I think a little easier. The ult is so massively good. I think he can put a lot of pressure out. I think he can do damage everywhere. I think you could put Scarlet and Wanda up there if we're talking about skill floor, but it's not just skill floor. This is about like how easy it is to actually get value, right? So like the value that you get by picking Scarlet Witch is really low. Yeah. So yeah. So I think Star-Lord is really good ult, easy to use, but I think like the neutral game positioning, health packs, target priority, I think it's very similar to Psylocke. So you do have to put in some time and knowledge and understand what's going on. So I'm fine with these here. Storm? Storm I put in situational. Controversial pick. I think Storm, you can actually get value just by existing and being part of your team. You also get the kind of like flyer benefits of Iron Man while being a little bit slower, so easier to hit for your team. You also, since you're existing with your teammates and you're going to be damage boosting them, they just get value by being around you. I think it's pretty easy to get some like decent value just randomly as Storm. You also can activate your E's and just randomly kill people. Happens all the time. Punisher, super easy value pick. Probably more so than Iron Man. He does so much damage. You can do damage far away, up close. The positioning is not, you know, super difficult to understand. As long as you're, you know, behind your tanks, you're doing fine. Punisher is like so easy to get value. Anybody can play him. The aiming's not very difficult. Yeah. I think Punisher's fine. So, Fist and BP, we did at the very beginning. And I had a lot to say about BP, so I don't know if you want to hear all of it. Bucky. Bucky's another one. Super easy value. Actually, this one I actually haven't seen so much. This is before the changes. Because I don't think I've seen a single Bucky since 7.5 came out. So this might be wrong. I'll put Bucky up here with an asterisk. Bucky is like, you can still get a lot of stuff done with Bucky, I think. I ran Bucky in one of my scrims yesterday. Does he still fill the same role, just a little bit worse? Yeah, I'm not sure where to even put Bucky. It's like old Bucky, definitely up here. People are actually saying he's better? He's better now? Really? Wow, okay. So then maybe put Bucky like here. And then Wolverine, I'd put Wolverine down here. Wolverine's kind of hard to get value on. I've seen a lot of Wolverines like that really have no idea how his kit works. Like they just don't even get close. They don't know where to take people when you kidnap them. They don't know who to kidnap. They just like W. Bro, like Chaotism, you massively overestimate how much knowledge you have of how games like this work. Like, understanding that you don't walk down main as Wolf and you try to get as close to somebody as possible and then you kidnap them and take them to your team, that simple understanding is more than most people have. Most people will literally pick this character, button mash, and play him like a tank and just hit things and die. I've seen it a lot. And so, like, you need to understand, like, what people can do. Like, if you do that same thing, but with a BP, you're gonna get more value with BP simply because people are gonna be scared. And as you're moving, you're harder to hit as BP than Wolverine. He's worse at being a bodyguard, but he has a better ult and more neutral pressure now. Oh, interesting. People don't shoot your grabs a lot. Right. And, like, you can grab an Emma and bring her down, and then the Emma can just, like, kill you. If you're bad. What's up, Libra? How's it going? It's easier to scare healers than tanks. Yeah, it's also, like, tanks just have a longer time to be able to react. Yeah. So this would be my tier list. I think that's all of the DPS. Just double check. This is my tier list for how easy it is to pick a character and just get value without knowing. Oh, Deadpool. You're right. Deadpool. I always forget Deadpool. DPS pool is kind of hard to get value. I would put DPS pool somewhere in here. Somewhere in here. Probably. I don't know. Deadpool I'm just confused about as a character in general. I try to actively avoid thinking about it. I do a tier list, Not novice friendly or difficult. I could hear an argument for not novice friendly. I wouldn't mind that. I'll hear out an argument. Guy seems high. Hawkeye, because you can just get random headshots. Random. Like, anybody can just randomly get a headshot, and then it completely changes the tide. The upgrade path alone makes him not novice friendly. Maybe. I could see that. Wait, there is no Hella. Hella's not even on the list. That's so funny. Hella's just missing. Oh, that's so funny. He's super difficult to get value with early on. Interesting. What's up, Dirt? How's it going? I don't know. Deadpool, I think games last long enough to where it's not that big of a deal, but I could be wrong. Hella, let's see. At some point Hella's gonna appear, right? I would assume. Yeah, there's Hella. We have Hella's back. Thank you. Hella's probably like up here. Probably about where Jean is. I think that's where I would put Hella. Thank you, Auntie. Appreciate it. You're the best. Yeah, I mean, Hella is very similar to Phoenix, where, like, you don't have to aim that well. You don't have to, like, know too much positioning. She's kind of hard to hit. You have a bird you can get out of anything with. She has a stun. She has that right click, which can pop tanks and do stuff. You can kind of just throw stuff down main. You really don't need too much. So, there we go. That's the tier list. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Take care. God bless. Catch you guys next time.